My name is Victor Minces. I am originally from Argentina and I live in Logan Heights in San Diego, California. I create sound sculptures that are awe-inspiring and playful. I teach sound through my work by arranging sound in unexpected ways to create surprising sound experiences. And I'm a sound freak. I love sound. I want to give you just like general information or general experiences of sound. And then I mix that with some stuff that I have made. But my goal is not just show what I have made, it's to make you enjoy sound in different ways. So that was with the ice cube like. So different materials make different sounds. This is heavier and a little more bouncy, and it's harder. Also, it's a little smaller, that's why it went down faster. So we had faster rhythms. I am making my work to bring that love to other people. If you grab it here, it doesn't sound very good, but if you grab it at the sweet spot, it sounds like that. So in order to make sound things, you need to understand how things vibrate. By the way, you know that it vibrates first because you studied in school that the vibrations make sound, but you can also kill the vibration by holding it. So if you grab it at this other point, which is the other sweet spot, the other note, the pipe is still resonating. So when you make instruments, you need to understand how things vibrate. Be precise.
Wait for him to do it.
And then do it.
So you know where it is. It's right there.
You see, this still vibrating.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Whereas if you grabbed it in the middle,
You just stop
there you
there.
go.
Yeah.
Sound has unexpected properties, and that creates a sensation of whoa! This is a prototype. This is not how I would present the piece in a public space. This is called or would be called a sound spaghetti. It's a tube that is 400 feet long. So my plan at this, I mean, there's many ways of doing this, but my plan is to have like a gigantic spaghetti plate somewhere with a big fork, and the tube is very particular because I mean, this is interesting because you can speak on one side and hear on the other side, and because the tube is 400 feet long, it takes about 1/3 of a second for the sound to come back. So you say hello, and 1/3 of a second later you will hear hello. Oh. Oh.
It's like a 1/4 of a second almost.
Yeah, it's about 1/3 of a second. Yeah, because 400 feet is about
Okay. Is it
100 meters.
it's the speed of sound, right?
Yeah. The frequency inside a tube goes as some constant over the length of the tube, which means the longer the tube, the lower the frequency. So a long tube creates low pitch. When I was a little kid, I really loved art and I really loved science. The school experience was so terrible that I started hating science and I really loved art. And after a few years, I caught the science bug again and I started studying physics just out of curiosity. It was a change of path, but a natural continuation. I fell in love with the physics of sound and waves. The first time I saw sound represented on an oscilloscope, which is a scientific tool, I was like, whoa, that's my voice. After I studied physics for a few years, I came to UCSD, University of California, San Diego, to get a PhD in computational neuroscience. I was very interested in, and I'm still very interested in, the role of music in cognitive development and the possible role of music in education. I was doing more like cognitive science, psychology types of experiments and neuroscience to see how the human brain processes rhythm. So I started this program that's called Listening to Waves to bring the science of sound to schools. I started curating sound experiences, finding objects that create really interesting and surprising sounds. Those can be either musical instruments from different parts of the world, or there can be objects that I find and I know how to play them and repurpose them so they do something that is surprising.
That's pretty wild.
That was wild.
So the more you bend it, you increase the tension, and things that are more tense vibrate faster. They create a higher pitch. By shaking your leg, you create a vibrato. Many people think that the only way to have fun making sound is making music as we understand it in a traditional sense of like somebody playing the keyboard. They don't want to play with sound because they will say, oh, I'm not a musician. The tubes act like filters. That means that there's a resonance inside them that is particular to a certain frequency. So even though what is falling on the bottom is just like water falling on water, the tube only accentuates a frequency within that. So depending how long is the tube, the frequency that will be accentuated. By making slits here so the water only reaches that point, I can control the length of the tube and I can actually tune them to how the frequencies that I want. Now I want to bring some of these experiences to the general public. Not only those experiences that I use in the school, but I want to reframe them as a form of art. And for creating them, I leverage what I know about the science of sound. In order to appreciate them, you have to experience them, you have to be a part of them, you have to interact with them. And these are experiences that are actually easy to share, although they are not so much out there. There's not so much sound art, there's not so much work connecting the science of sound with aesthetic experiences. Once you know that there can be really interesting sound coming from unexpected objects, I feel that sort of opens up your ears. I want people to be curious about why they felt that. I want people to have an intense experience, but not only that, I want them to go home and perhaps be more tuned about sound throughout their everyday lives. I want that next time somebody hears a screw falling on the concrete and they hear ping, I want them to think about how that screw is vibrating and why it's making that sound. These things that have made my life better, richer, happier, that have opened my ears to the world, and I want to make experiences that can live in houses or in museums or in public spaces for everybody to enjoy, because I think everybody can enjoy them.
It almost has like a church bell sound to it.
Yeah.
Not as defined, but it sounds similar.
And the shorter one.
Did you identify the sweet spot on all of the hanging points there?
Yeah, it's 22.5% of the length.
Okay,
yeah.
so always the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.